not-for-profit organization. The answer, if you want to see this film anywhere, is yes.
Yeah, you know, and another thing I was going to say, because I'm going to be working with all these people who are going to get opportunities to shadow high-level executives, I definitely want a copy of your movie and I want to show it to everybody.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I want to say it was an amazing movie. I'm inspired as a student. But furthermore, I was wondering, in the movie you mentioned how basically we founded the solar and wind energy industry. But of course, Germany and China have
Kicked our butts.
leaders.
Yep.
Exactly. So what are your suggestions of how we can get back this industry?
That's a big question. I would say that we will need a hand from government to stoke it up, some tax rebates, some tax incentives. But basically, I just think that if states, we were talking to Jim Woolsey just a second ago, if we had the feed-in tariff where you actually had to buy the solar energy back, that would stoke things up like in Germany. That's why their solar is so big, because of that. Basically, just a little nudge from government and a little incentive, but the biggest thing is a price on carbon. That's the biggest thing. Once there's a price on carbon, then that starts leveling the playing field, and all of a sudden cleaner energy becomes more cost efficient.
No, are you a carbon tax supporter, or are you like, which one?
You mean like carbon tax versus cap and trade?
Yes.
I think it's probably going to be a little bit of both. You know, just read Joe Rome's blog and you'll learn much more than what I've just said.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Peter, quite excellent. I mean, the ending list is a very great list of people and institutions to go to. I want to really give you credit for that. I mean, if we could combine all those people, we'd be on a much better path.
It's credit to them for saying yes. So we just said asked.
Comment and question. Real quick comment. One of the ones answering the questions, and if you're talking to Bob Fox, talking to Joe and others, you get this, which is the bigger payoff in the buildings is not the energy savings, but as you green a building, productivity skyrockets. Yeah. So the Bank of America building, I believe they're projecting 15 to 20% higher productivity. Yeah. So that pays it off in about a week. Yeah. Of all the extra costs.
Yeah, it's insane how fast it does that.
A question which I didn't. Amazing. The one thing that
I don't know if that's me or you. Anyways.
Well, it's a positive feedback.
Yeah.
We don't like this. Is when you're talking to people, which were the sort of flipping points? What turned people and changed them in the interviews? Where did they see, either from themselves or dealing with others, where they started to take real action or real concerns? Because while this is very much a feel-good, so to speak, the real challenge is to get us moving that way.
Well, I mean, just to say, the people we interviewed are people that have been doing this for 30 and 40 years. I mean, you've got Neil right here from ACEEE. I mean, those guys have been banging this drum forever. And so it's really weird. We're just an amplifier for the people who were doing the amazing work already. No one we interviewed changed. We just found what they were doing amazing, and we wanted to highlight that. Especially at the DoD, because early on in our research we realized that's the biggest purse on the planet. That's the biggest chunk of change anywhere. And so if that big chunk of change starts going towards things like this, it could really do a lot fast. So, yes. One more? Okay. Yes,
thank you very much for your remarkable work and your fairly easily digestible film.
Thank you. I have indigestion from making the film.
As someone who works in global health, I've become very interested in the increasing recognition of the link between increasing access to family planning, including contraceptives, and combating climate change and reducing carbon emissions. And I see among your list of hundreds of interviewees were those representing UN agencies and the Pew Charitable Fund, for example, who have cited recently that as many as 200 million women worldwide have an unmet need for family planning, that increasing women's education and reproductive health and access to family planning reduces birth rates, and that when taken purely as a method of reducing carbon emissions, family planning, increasing access to family planning, is far more cost-effective than the leading low-carbon technologies. And I was wondering if that came up in any of your interviews, and if you might be able to comment on that.
Yeah, it's funny. I had this working script for the whole time we were making the film, and there was just like, how do I squeeze population in there? It's still in there now. I just couldn't put everything, excuse me, in the film. One of the early places we were at was Rocky Mountain Institute at their 25th anniversary. And I think, it was Bill Clinton who was saying, educate women, less babies, and so many good things happen from that point. I just think that we have set up a foundation to keep making these films. And that's just going to have to be either a 10-minute standalone film. It has to be addressed, and it just wasn't in this movie, but it's huge. It's huge. Towards the end, when we were doing the things, one guy, this very interesting scientist named Saul Griffith, was like, just one of the things he was adding to the action item was have less babies. And so everything you say is accurate. It just didn't make it into this film, but we hope to get that story out for sure. Thanks. Can we just do one more? We're done? Okay. Well, how do we continue this fun time? I just have to thank all of you for coming out on a Sunday, nice drizzly day. We've been working on this film for 3 years, and to have this many faces still in here for the Q&A means a lot. It means an awful lot to us. And so thank you. Thank you very much.